before I start? Before the talking. All right, we're going to roll something before we dive in, but thank you all for being here. Happy Sunday Fun Day at NAMM. I'm your host, Tyler Barth, and I'm with my esteemed panelists, Gus and Dave and Tag and Kim and Noah and John, the man with the plan, John, joining us in Tennessee right now. All right, go ahead and cue it. All right, that was the first time I've heard that. Hi, John. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
We got a good mic test. There we go. All right, we're
Are we
doing
good?
great. 60 from inception. So hopefully that will inspire the conversation. John, I'm sorry you weren't able to hear that in 13.2, but you can improvise. Okay, so I'm going to introduce myself, and then we're going to go down the line, and everyone will introduce themselves, and then we're going to dive in to the importance of education in 360 reality audio with virtual mixing environment. There's many applications you guys can speak directly to because you're already doing it. But I'm just here to carry the conversation along. So my first NAMM was in 2008. I was head of marketing, artist relations, and biz dev for a company called Blue Microphones, which we ultimately had pro audio that went into consumer. And then I had a bunch of projects that I got to do, like the recording studio at Esquire House, House of Rock, and most recently with Ross and the Sony team, created an immersive creator experience, where we're pushing the boundaries of how artists would think about recording, which was partly the track that we just listened to that Scott, Nikki, Blumpy all recorded. Anyway, it's an honor to be here. It is Sunday Fun Day at NAMM, which means everybody probably had too much to drink last night. I might be also one of those people. Gus, go ahead and give us a little intro on you.
Sure. My name's Gus Skinnis, and I've been working for Sony for a while. And right now I'm working on the 360 reality audio project, the tools to do this spherical panning in our spatial format. And the other thing is that we are now working with something called the virtual mixing environment, which is what we'll be talking about here today. And that's how you can experience a studio in your laptop and a monitoring system. Anyway, we'll get into all that, but it's pretty cool.
Go ahead, Dave.
Hello, my name is Dave Kahlberg. I teach at the Conservatory for Recording Arts and Sciences. I am honored to be up here with my students today, and I'm definitely honored to have Gus and Sony and Hero invite me to speak on the panel today. So we'll talk about the VME and how we could use this in an education environment. Yep.
Let's go to John.
Oh, John.
It's all good. We're all in it together, right? It's an absolute pleasure to be joining you remotely. Thank you for letting me dial in. My name is John Merchant. I'm a recovering audio engineer and producer, and now a teacher here in Tennessee. So I'm doing my best to stamp out ignorance here. I'm super excited to be a part of this panel and to see what the future of immersive audio is going to be. It's, the students who are exploring this now are doing just like these amazing, creative, interesting things. I'm super excited to see what the students at Crafts are doing. I must say, all of the grads I've ever met from Crafts, they are just amazing. Like, they really know their stuff. They come to work. They really are remarkable folks. I just actually had dinner with one of your alums, a guy named Daryl Thorpe, who's gone out and done some really amazing work. Makes you guys proud every day, and I'm excited to meet some of the folks who are doing that work now. So yeah, I'm in particular, I think the new virtual monitoring that Gus got to show me in December is just amazing, like just mind-blowingly fantastic. It's really exciting for what it can do for students and for the industry.
Awesome. Tag.
My name's Taggart Ashworth, and yeah, we attend the Conservatory of Recording Arts and Sciences. Dave is our teacher. He's really the inspiration for us being out here right now. I'd like to thank him for that. But yeah, we're just super excited to be here and talk about how much we've enjoyed hearing everything in that environment, the virtual mixing environment. We actually just got to demo it, and it was awesome. But here you go.
Go ahead, Kim.
Hi, I am Kimberly. I go by Kim. I am also a student at the Conservatory of Recording Arts and Sciences. I think I speak for just women, moms, because I am a mom myself, but parents in general, of how important it can be that this new software is coming out and the opportunities that are available to you. Because sometimes it can feel like doors are closing, but this new technology really is opening eyes. And I just want to thank Dave. I want you to know that it takes great teachers to make great students, and we are very excited to just be at the cusp of this new change. Thank you.
I love that. Noah.
Yes, my name is Noah, and I'm also a student at the Conservatory of Recording Arts and Sciences. And yeah, we're out here at NAMM, and we just got profiled, and I'm still blown away by it. But we're actually going to have a class on it tomorrow or on Tuesday, so excited to learn more.
All right. So I'd love to kick this off, John, with you. In December, when you had the ability to, I guess, experience virtual mixing environment with Gus, what were some of the insights that you started to recognize in terms of the application for students, the next generation of recording artists and everything? What kind of applications are you seeing?
Well, when you start to think about what it is that a school can provide, one of the things is we've always, I teach at Middle Tennessee State, which is the largest recording program in the United States. And one of the things that we worry about is making sure that our students have sufficient time on good monitoring, because they can, students have access to great tools, like what you have in Pro Tools or Logic in the laptop that you walk around in your bag is incredibly powerful. Like if you showed that to someone in 1984, their head would explode. They just wouldn't be able to process what's available today just without even thinking about it. But the thing that is really still remains elusive is this idea of having really high-end monitoring. It's one of the things we invested in at the school. It matters, and because you're only as good as what you can hear. You're going to make decisions based on what you're hearing, and rightly so. And so if your monitoring is terrible, which is often true, well, at least it was true. I won't out my school, but my previous school monitoring not so good, and it can be hard to then get in and listen to your work, and it really holds you back, right? If you're listening on bad monitors, it's like watching a movie through dark tinted glasses or with the screen taped off or something. It's just not telling you the whole story. It's a huge unfair advantage, and it's just that much harder to make good work. So if you can walk around, if you could go to a great room and have that room measured with your apparatus, right? We all listen differently. I'm sure you've heard 10,000 times today, head-related transfer function. The fact that each of our physiologies ingests audio differently means that we need to have a unique capture. And so what Gus and Hero did at Blackbird, which is one of this spectacular studio in Nashville, we sat down in one of their 714, I think it's the 714 room, and did a monitoring setup. And then they turned off the speakers, and it was just man, the accuracy on this is incredible. And so what that does for students when they have the opportunity to listen in a world-class environment, but still powered by their laptop, is just an incredible opportunity. How exciting that is to put everyone in the sweet spot of an amazing room all the time. Boy, is that a game changer. Like you can go to the lab now, right? So it's 2 a.m. and you're in the lab and you're in headphones. but you're actually in the A room on campus, or maybe you went to visit a great studio and you got to shoot yourself there, and now you get to carry that with you. That's an incredibly powerful, it now means, you can be on an airplane or in your dorm and you're mixing in a spectacular space, and you can really trust the choices you're making. You can make things that are reliable. You will get better faster because you're not being held back by your monitoring. So, I mean, um, the opportunities for what this means moving forward it's hard to understate how important this is.
Yeah, that's well said. Dave, you're nodding your head. Do you want to take that as well?
I do.
Similar question?
Well, yeah, I want to also kind of elaborate on that. Accessibility to rooms as well. Conservatory has 12 world-class control rooms, but we also have anywhere from 300 to 500 students at any given time. So for students to be profiled in these world-class rooms and then have access to these rooms when they're at home, or even after leaving the conservatory and out on their internship, um, having this profile in, let's say, our D room. They know that room, they know the profile, and it gives them more confidence as young engineers to be able to always reference a space that you're comfortable in and that sounds good. So a student could be mixing, let's say, at their internship site, kind of unsure about the mix because it's a new room, but then put their profile, headphones on, profile, and now they're in the D room and they know that the room is actually correct, or the mix is actually correct.
Gus, where can people go right now that has been measured in the United States right now? What rooms have been measured where you can get your own profile?
Well, you would have to go to a room that has the equipment to measure you in that room. Uh, in Los Angeles, it's Gold Digger. In New York, Hit Factor? No, uh, sorry. Uh, Hopefully soon it will be Blackbird. We're working with them. The equipment is there, but we're in talks, and also your place. Hopefully.
Hopefully, we're working on
Yeah.
it.
Kim, you just were measured. Give us that experience. For those who've not been measured and don't really know what we're talking about entirely, we keep talking about measurement, virtual mixing environment. Humanize this for us.
Okay. Honestly, it is everything I did not expect. My brain felt tingly after the experience. That's the only way I can really describe it. It really does immerse you into this human experience. I personally studied psychology in my undergrad, and so I feel like I'm very in tune with the whole how the mind and the cognitive relationship works. But so being in the room itself, I really did feel like all these senses were being activated, and the experience was brought to life. And it's just a one of a kind experience. And I just really wish everybody would be able to do this and try this.
So last year at NAM, right above us, it said immerse yourself. And I think every single day from April NAM last year, I've heard the word immerse. Immersive experience, immerse this, immerse that. What is immersive to you, Noah?
Immersive to me is when my brain is convinced that I'm hearing the sounds that are in front of me, even though they're not. They're in my headphones. So when I experienced that in the profile room, it really just melted my brain, and yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah.
Tag. Have you ever mixed or recorded in immersive? Like, there are there's Atmos, there's obviously Sony 360, there's others out there, quadraphonic sound. Yeah. Have you ever mixed or recorded in that yet?
Yes, I've done some Dolby Atmos mixing, and I want to try Sony mixing now as well, really badly after the demo. But it was in the D room back at Crash, just trying out everything, and it's been really awesome. They actually came to Crash and showed us it in that same room, and to me, it was definitely better than the Dolby Atmos stuff. But we'll keep that for later.
Well, Atmos has been a stepping stone. And John, this one's for you. I'm just going to give some stats right now. There were 40 million songs uploaded to the DSPs last year. 40 million. only 20,000 of them were actually 360 mixes, and I don't know how many Atmos mixes on Apple Music, but these kids are going to school, and I've heard this whole idea that a gold rush is coming. Being able to mix in Atmos, being able to mix in 360 is going to allow people to differentiate their music from cutting through the noise of the 40 million tracks up there. So what do you see happening over the next couple years as we move a little bit more into immersive? Because it's just a better listening experience, isn't it?
It absolutely is. One of the things I'm very old. Like Moses and I started mixing together, so I've been doing this for a while. Um, and I'm old enough to remember when music in surround was the next big thing, right? 5.1 music mixing was going to be the next big thing, and it just died a death with consumers. I think for two reasons. One is that there were competing formats, which is never good news. But the other was that a lot of the content that was put out was just terrible. Like it was really not done well. And so I'm excited about the opportunities that immersive brings us, and I'm very concerned right now at where we are in the industry because this is a critical time for consumers to buy in. Whoops. Um, that if too much non-ideal content, let's not be so judgy. If non-ideal content is released and there's a lot of it, audiences are just going to go, well, this isn't worth it, and I'm not going to buy into this. And that is how a format dies, right? I'm perfectly happy with stereo. That works. I own headphones. I don't see the value in investing in 14 more speakers, so I'm not going to do it. And so it does. We lose out on the opportunity that could have been amazing. What I'm optimistic about is that there are people now who, like your students and our students, who are exploring this and actually working to create content that's going to really be worth listening to in immersive, where we're listening to it with height channels, with the side and the rear channels, makes a difference, right? And when you hear great mixes, there's I don't know if you all will be watching the Grammys next week, but a week from today, they have all these different categories. One of those is best immersive mix, and there's some really good mixes available. And actually, the one that's won the award for the last 2 years was actually done with the Sony system, right? With the Sony reality system. That's may not be an accident, is because it's just such a musical sounding, especially with the floor mounted speakers as an option, right? It can really sound great. So as long as there's great content out there, I think that the format is going to shine. And the fact that you all as students are learning how to make that happen is super exciting. Actually conceive of a project in immersive and, can I think will accelerate the process of creating work that draws in audiences and allows the format to flourish. But I really see this as a critical time because right now there's an awful lot of, we're going to call it okay mixes, and that don't draw in audiences. We need things that are great. So go make things that are great, you all.
Dave, same question for you, or you can answer the question you want to answer.
Well, no, I just wanted to elaborate that Surround 5.1, it did fail for music, but it was very popular and excelled for motion picture, for video games, and that's really where it got its hold. And I think also with the content, maybe not the best, but also it wasn't accessible to the end user. And now all of us can experience immersive audio on our cell phones. And now this is a very exciting time because I believe that the immersive music will be, it is now available to everybody to experience it. And you're talking about 14 more speakers. Again, it works great for movies, video games. Uh, but as far as listening, people on the go, everybody had their iPods and their MP3 players at the time, and so on. And so now immersive is available to everybody, just right in their cell phones.
So I'll extrapolate a little bit on that. So if you guys have headphones, any headphones can hear immersive. So you don't need a special system. You can take your iPhone on the run and you can listen to immersive in any headphones. So now Sony has the MV1 headphones, which are perfect and were created for immersive. All right, let's talk about gear. What are you guys currently using for headphones? And have you guys tried the MV1s, right? All right, let's talk about that.
Well, I have AirPods, and then mixing on, I use the warm ones that we got from Warm Headroom is the specific name of them that we got from Crass. But yeah, we did just try those MV1s out, and they are absolutely beautiful. Compared to the warm ones, with the immersive mixing that I've done, it's hard to describe, but it's definitely not as wide of a sound stage. Like, it's so much more expansive, like everywhere around you. That's the best way I could describe it.
Yeah, so we got the same package. We're all in the same cycle. I have for headphones, I do have my warm headphones. I also have some Sony 360, the MD. Oh, I forget what they are because I think it's an 8XH. Which ones are they? Anyways, but I have some of those, and those do give me the 360 like experience before I got to try this VME stuff. But yeah, it's just really cool to hear like all those sounds and how they come together in your ears. I'm still kind of processing what we just went through, but it's honestly really awesome. It's just indescribable.
Yeah, going off of that, the headphones I use, I typically notice them when I'm wearing them, and when we were experiencing the profiling and everything with those headphones, weightless. It just really felt like I wasn't even having headphones on, and I could hear everything around me, like through the speakers that were around me.
So Gus, this one's for you. I mean, you've been around the block a little bit. We've talked about it. I know you, much like me, have worked with a lot of creators, and you've seen movements of time. We talked briefly earlier about the introduction to stereo, which was in 1957, and it was actually promoted as 360 sound. So go figure. And then in '91, Pro Tools came along, and it was the first DAW that went mainstream and allowed you to create digitally without tape. There's still purists doing tape. God bless them. So you've seen this 34 years, and then now here we are, 360, also 33, 34 years later. Are we going to still create in stereo, or what are you seeing? The writing seems to be on the wall.
I think we're gonna keep creating in stereo as well. And just so you know that even with VME, if you go into a room and you have the measurement of all those speakers, if you just turn on the left and the right, you have that room in stereo. So you can also use these measurements to have an incredible monitoring space for stereo too. And yeah, I think stereo is still gonna be there. And yeah, we're now up to 360, and I'm hoping there'll be higher sample rates someday.
I think you're right about that. Processing speeds are getting faster. Computers are getting smarter. John, what have you seen? What applications have you also seen in students, just thematically? We don't need to necessarily touch on virtual mixing environment, but just thematically, what are you seeing that's driving kids into the studios?
Well, we can't keep them out of the studios. If we encased them in concrete, they would find a way to blast through. I'm willing to bet, Dave, your students are the same, right? They're just so motivated to be there, which is spectacular. It's just so exciting. I think the big thing that I'm seeing is, and this is particular with our kind of our forward-thinking students, is that they're actually creating for the format. So they're actually starting with the idea of creating a project in an immersive environment. And what is that like? And there aren't that many examples of that right now. Most of what you're going to hear on Apple and elsewhere is repurposed stereo, things that were done for a stereo multi-track. And for a lot of people, stereo is still great. I mean, it's can be very effective and done well. It's a lovely, I don't always have to have that big 3D experience. Sometimes just a headlocked headphone experience is fine. Um, but what I'm really interested in is to see what young content creators are going to do armed with this option, and with it starting with the idea of, okay, the end result is going to be playback in multi-channel with height channels. How do we harness that? What creative choices and decisions do we make at the beginning that will support that at the end? So that seems to be the thing I'm seeing, which is really exciting. I'm excited to see what students or what people, what creative individuals are going to do with those tools. I think it's going to be great.
Uh, I was recently watching an interview with Dweezil Zappa, and he was explaining, we were talking about immersive audio and so on, and just something that I was reminded of is Dweezil was talking about, if only my dad had this technology and then had the forethought that he knew that he could put sounds behind his listener, sounds in front of the listener, and so on. So I have to agree with you. I believe immersive audio is the evolution of how we listen to music. We started mono, we went to stereo, surround 5.1, 7.1. We put channels above us, but now we're object based, and with the metaverse and all of these different types of immersive interactive experiences, I think this is the evolution of how we consume music, and not just music, movies, games, and all other experiences online.
Yeah, you nailed it. I think applications for 360 immersive are sort of endless, because you talk about what is the future: VR, AR, gaming, live broadcasts. Has anybody been to the Sphere to see U2 yet? Live entertainment. I mean, it's all there. The writing's on the wall. Stereo's not going away. Don't get me wrong, but I think that you can't really bring stereophiles into the metaverse for the best experience, right?
Well,
You can. Yeah.
that's coming. The codecs are coming, and that is still, the metaverse. If in case you didn't know, it's just the internet. It's just the internet, but it's the progression of the internet. We started off with Web 1.0. Some of you remember they called it the information superhighway. And correct, it connected everybody with information anywhere in the world. Web 2.0 connected us with information and people. And that was the beginning of social media, MySpace, then Facebook, and so on. And now Web 3.0 is just the next progression of the internet, new devices, new technology. We're so used to opening up our laptops and having a Zoom meeting. Pretty soon, I talk to my students that instead of pulling out your laptop for the meeting, you're going to put on a headset, some glasses, and we'll be able to see each other and throw audio files to us across the room and grab them with our gloves and swipe and drop them in and that type of thing. So it's coming. We're not there yet, but all of the different and hear the virtual space and be in the virtual space. And I'm actually working on virtual classrooms that will also support 360, where students can go in and actually mix and go through power down sequences and so on, and then with the 360 audio.
I love that. This is for you, John. Collaboration is so important, right? So you have the education, and then how do you learn? Well, you got to go out there in the wilderness and do, right. How do you foster collaboration within the school?
Boy, that's a terrific question. So, one of the challenges that we have is that we are not a school of music. Most recording programs are in schools of music. We're actually a college of media and entertainment. So we have lots of people who are on the creative side, but mostly technical, and not as many musicians around. So we do mixers fairly regularly, where we try to put our creative people together. And I don't know who said it, but I remember that someone was asked, what's the most important thing that you can do with a school? And it's like, well, if I were going to build a school, I would build the cafeteria and the dorms, right? So that they have places to live and eat and interact. And then if we have a lot of money, then we'll build classrooms and hire faculty. But the main thing is creating a space where young, creative, interesting, enthusiastic people can come together and start thinking about what it is that they can do to collaborate. So one of my favorite projects that we've done recently was we had our animation students created a 360 film, and our recording students created a soundtrack for it, and a 360 soundtrack, and did all the dialogue and the sound effects and mixed it, and it won like best in show at SIGGRAPH or something like that. It was really pretty cool. So getting the best thing that we do for students is give them the tools, and it's like throwing red meat to lions. Like, okay, work on this, and then we stand out of the way and watch them do amazing stuff. And Dave, I suspect you see your students do that too, right?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going to have you answer that as well, Dave, because I think it is important. Collaboration is really everything. And I like, John, that you pointed out tools. This is where Sony comes in. Sony wants to be a part of that entire process, from the creator tools on the software side to the microphones to the headphones. And we want to be able to partner. Like, we foster collaboration. We want to hear what you guys are up to. We want to hear what products we can create for you to make you better musicians, to make you better creators, to make you better engineers. So, all right, Dave, how do you foster collaboration within the schools?
I encourage students. All of our students have projects that are due. Everybody has a fifth cycle project and a 10th cycle project. 12 cycles, 3 weeks to cycle. And the best thing is, anytime a student does a project, they bring in all their classmates in to help them. So one can be an engineer, the student doing the project can be the engineer, and then their classmates can come in and be musicians, rap, vocals, sing, play guitar, and so on. So I always encourage the study groups, and I always encourage these guys to get into the rooms and use these tools that are available to them, and that leads to VME. Because when they leave school, now if they have the profile of a couple different rooms that they are very, very comfortable in, and they know that in this room, if it sounds a certain way and my mix is good in this room, I know it's good. We used to do the car check. Go out to the car, check the mix in the car. So, and this will not only do it gives them the opportunity to collaborate and work together in projects, but when they leave, they also have these tools with them, and they get to take the rooms with them.
We can measure you in the car.
I know you can measure me in the car, Gus.
So before I go to you guys down there, Gus, explain what the perfect optimal setup is for VME 360.
Well, the thing to start with is a very good monitoring system, good acoustics. You don't want it to be too live. If you sit in there and you play sounds coming out of the speakers in the room, you want to make sure that without the VMA, they sound like they're coming from the right place. Because when you do the VME, whatever it is, that's what you're going to get. And if you're in there and you can't hear sounds coming from the right place, it's going to be the same thing when you put on the headphones. It'll be exactly the same. So that's really important, going into a good space, and yeah, that's the main thing. That's the main thing. Just a good acoustical environment to be measured in, because what you hear is what you get.
Can I just add one thing? I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know if you have to bring me up on the fader. Sorry. So one of the big things, Gus, I just want to follow up on that, is the measurement process is absolutely critical. How
yeah.
you capture that person's it's, you need to be in a great sounding space, but then the person doing the measurement really needs to know what they're doing. One of the things
It's all about precision and accuracy. You're absolutely right. Yeah, that's
I just want to throw that.
measurement process itself. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just hyper critical, and it's one of the advantages of going somewhere where they actually know what they're doing, like at CRAS or at Gold Digger or Black, like going somewhere where they know, where they capture it correctly. Now you know it's
Yeah.
reliable,
Yeah, even
because
when we do measurements here or with any time with VME, we even tape the wires to the phase so nothing moves when we're going through the measurements. We didn't do that in the past, and it's helped. It's made a big difference.
All right, collaboration, community. It's it's essential to song making. It's essential to where music is going. If anybody looks at all the Grammys that have been nominated for this year or for last year that's going to come out this year, there must be like 10 songwriters on almost every song that is up for a Grammy. You guys are in a critical time and a very exciting time because it's all about collaboration. Whereas before, 15 years ago, songs that were up for Grammys might have like two writers on it. They might have one engineer, one producer. The engineer and producer might have even been the same person. So it's really changed. It's an exciting time. So let's talk about collaboration. What's one of the most exciting collaborations, Noah, that you've had, and where did you like foster that collaboration? I mean, it probably wasn't just like let's go to the studio, and I mean, because you can make music anywhere.
Right. Yeah. And I just starting at Crass, the console experience was just something that I gravitated towards too. So when I have classmates like Kim and Tag, I just bring them in and I get to record them. And yeah, it's just a really healthy experience because we're all on the same page. We're all trying to collaborate and just have fun with it, but also troubleshoot if things go wrong. It's just a very streamlined experience where really there's no butting of heads, and if there is, we can talk it out. So.
Yeah, cool. Collaboration. Honestly, I really glad that we're talking about this. When I first started Crass, you go into the mentality that there's going to be multiple people there that have the same purpose. We're all here. We love music. We love audio. We want to create this human experience, which at the end of the day is what art is. It's an expression of a human experience. So when we have our projects that are requirements, that kind of opens the door to start asking other students like, hey, I sing, do you play guitar, do you want to work together? Currently working on a song with a younger cycle that's like a younger student below me. He's making the beat, Tag is adding some different arrangements, I'm adding the lyrics, we're in the studio, there's 5 people feeding off of the energy of each other, and it really brings that project to life. It honestly just kind of reminds you that sometimes you're stuck as an audio engineer, you can kind of get stuck in the technical side of things, but when there's other people there and it's just fun and that's what it's supposed to be like, it is just very heartwarming, it's very motivating, it makes you want to do it again, it gets you excited for the studio. And I'm kind of a social queen myself, so I like to facilitate projects for my classmates as well. So if I know I can't do this session, hey, Tag is a really cool engineer, he's available this day, he's going to treat you right, and he has a good vibe. And so it's pretty cool to work with other people. I think that is really what like creates this like fun and a motivating environment.
Tag.
I have to just echo everything Kim just said because we were just in the studio last week working on that same exact song she's talking about, and just the whole experience of seeing everybody get to work together and find their flow in the studio and find like their ability that they like to do, that piece that really drives them forward in what they're doing was really awesome, and just being able to be a part of that too is so much fun. So yes.
Yes, sir.
Looked like you had something you wanted to say.
Oh, I'm just happy for my students, and when you walk down the hallway at Crass, and everybody's just 300 to 500 students, all with the same passion. Some are there for live sound, some are there for post production, some are there for video games, some are there for music, and then everybody gets together with the thing that they like, and when everybody brings something to the table, then the the um, the project, it just has, I'm at a loss for words, but it's always better when you have multiple people involved in a project and everybody puts in a little bit. It creates for a more human project. And yeah, I'm just happy for my students and the fact that they do have all these projects, and then they all bring each other in to perform and to engineer. And sometimes it's lower cycle students that are really nervous, and they'll like, listen, I'll just wrap cables. It's like, that's okay. And you could come in, you wrap cables, and they get used to being inside the studio, and they see the whole flow, and then they have more confidence the next time they come in. So the whole collaboration thing is great.
Well, there's no slowing down for creators out there. I recently read a stat, John, that the DAW, digital audio workstation market, is nearly 3 billion as of last year.
Wow.
And it's supposed to get by 2030 to 5.4 billion. I mean, I guess the writing's on the wall. There is, I mean, again, frame of reference, all we're talking about is the growth that we're going to see over the next six years. But people are going to be creating a lot of audio. People are using, what DAW do you guys use, just out of curiosity?
I use Pro Tools and FL Studio.
Pro Tools and Reaper, thanks to Dave K.
Pro Tools, Reaper, and Logic.
All right. Sounds like we have consensus Pro Tools. Oh, go ahead, Gus.
Sonoma.
Now I know why you wanted to answer that question so bad. He's the outlier here.
That was actually made me very happy. When I met Gus, I did not realize his position, Super Audio Center and Sonoma Software, and I built my room to be a high resolution room, so up to 768 PCM, 32-bit, 11.2 DSD record and playback. And so, yes, I'm definitely into high resolution audio, and in my opinion, DSD is the closest you can get to the analog waveform.
I think Gus can agree on that.
Yes, I do.
John, what's your setup? What's your DAW?
So I've been using Pro Tools since 1994. So I've been using that for a long time. At the university, our students use everything, right? Logic and Ableton. Lots of students who do like Reaper, especially the ones who are doing immersive work. FL Studio seems like it's the new gateway drug for producers. Um, or Audacity, right? That's a lot of people come in with Audacity because it's free and it's actually not bad, or GarageBand, or Studio One is one I see a lot as well. And I got to be honest, I teach a producing class, and I just met with the students, and I was like, guys, I don't care for that particular class. I think it was Kim, you had said that there's just lots of focus on the technical part of things, and that's true. So many of our students just think that a record starts with the microphone and not with the player on the other side of it. So one of the things that I try to tell them is, look, there's this wonderful Ed Cherney quote that says, if I ask you to dig a trench, I don't care what shovel you use. I just care how wide and deep the groove is. Audiences aren't interested in tools. We are, obviously, and people can be very passionate about the tools that they use. But I really think the best tools are the ones that you have, the ones that you have available and that you know. And Dave, to your point again, I think you should advertise on the fact that you can take our studios home with you, right? When you finish your degree, you're going to take the studios with you. That's an incredibly powerful option that you're giving your students, because it's like you might leave us physically, but you will always take us as a part of you professionally. That's a huge advantage. I just wrote your next mix ad, but yeah, I really think that that's something that you should, and I hope as students you all will really take advantage of. Obviously, the fact that you're here means that you are, which is great. Good for you.
Thank you. I again, not only being able to take the studios with you, but I also think it's that for new engineers, that confidence, that home, that safe spot. That again, an intern is in a new studio and they're mixing. They think it's good, but they're not sure. They've only been in here a couple times. But then to be able to take that with their gear, their headphones, 360. Put in their profile and listen, and they're like, yep, it is good, and that's kind of that reassurance. So yes, it's taking the rooms with them, and then also something to help them with their confidence in mixing and kind of I agree. I kind of fizzled on that one, but
Oh, and also have that quality mixing time. You know, when I went to school, it wasn't like this. There was a one control room. You're lucky to get in there. And when I did get in there, I was just so nervous about taking up other people's time, and I just couldn't think. I couldn't listen. I didn't learn anything. But if I had the ability to just go to my space and put on the headphones and concentrate and do quality listening and have the time to do it, I think that would have made all the difference in the world. And that's one of the reasons I think this technology is so important to education.
And then when you do, and then when you practice at home and you get it right, then you could take that mix into the control room after the fact.
Right.
Yeah, imagine if you played, I don't know, cello, and you only got to use a cello for 3 hours a week. Like, how good a cellist are you going to? You're going to suck at the cello, or because you won't have had the time, or like Gus, you're gonna like, oh, I'm so nervous. I'm gonna break that. Like, how do I hold this thing right? About the time you can get it working, you have to give it to the next person, right? It's a huge advantage to be able to luxuriate, to marinate in that time, and really not feel like you're being rushed or pushed out of the room after 2 hours or 4 hours. That you take it with you. Like it's really makes you proud you live this long.
Yeah, and hello, test, test. Okay. Yeah, and I think one of the important things I kind of brought it up earlier. So we're all in our last cycle, and we're looking into our internships now and where we want to go. Some people are going to the big music cities, LA, New York, Nashville, but then there's people like me who I'm a mom, I'm a single mom, I have a 2-year-old, and getting studio time, like quality studio time, is super important, and just again, it just kind of reinforces that idea that it's opening up all these opportunities for you, regardless of where you are. And for me, like personally, also, I don't always have the time to book the studio like at Crafts we do 6 to 1. But I know that if I put on my headphones, I can mix if it's like late at night and my son's sleeping, 1 a.m. or wake up early and continue to mix and continue to get that practice. So I think that's just really cool to know that those opportunities exist.
Yeah, the power to collaborate regardless of your physical location is a huge, that's like this remarkable tool. So that's exciting.
All right, we are nearing the end of our beautiful panel, but I am interested. What's next? It's a very general question, but what's the thing right now you're most excited about? We enter the 2024 year. It's January. We got 11 months runway. What are you most excited about? And it's a general question, so there's no wrong or right where I'm trying to go with this. And Tag, since you got the mic, you get to lead it off.
No, you good. I'm just gonna say probably the internship that I'm going to in Nashville, whatever it's gonna be. I am super excited for it. Hopefully studio work or in live sound, but either or, I'm so ready for it, and hopefully some immersive stuff in there too, because that would be really fun to deal with out there. But yeah, that's the next step for me, and I'm super excited for it.
I am most excited about, honestly, is just getting studio time in Dave Cave's studio. It's looks like it's again just at the edge of technology. It's really cool to know that that opportunity is in Arizona. I also do photo and video, so I'm looking to just expand my knowledge in audio and how to create and really relive that experience, which I think again VME does really good at is replicating that for each individual. So I'm just excited to learn more about it. I'm also excited to learn about the implications that it can have with coming from a psychology degree, how that can be used in that field as well, because I think it has a lot of potential, with the whole psychomusicology concept.
Going off of that, yeah, I'm echoing what they're saying. I'm just excited for internship as well, and just being able to use a lot of the skills that I was taught and practiced over the 9 months that we were attending the school. So, yeah, it should be pretty exciting, and yeah, I'm looking forward to like anything that's thrown at me. So. I'm gonna be in Anaheim for my internship, but yeah, I'm really just like really ready to explore any option that's available. So
Yeah, go grad.
What are you most excited about?
I'm I'm excited about the updates for 360. I'm very excited that last week we conservatory taught the very first 360 walk mix creator class, and that's huge. I have pictures of students with headphones on, smiling, big thumbs up, and they're moving things around, and it's blowing their mind. And I'm excited to bring more of this tech to the students, and I'm excited for the updates. And I know Sony has the 360 has a new update, so as soon as I get home, I'm downloading that, and getting that going. Um, and just yeah, to see where the future takes us. Again, I do believe it's the evolution, and I do think that we'll always mix in stereo. We'll always have two ears, but I really believe that that this is the evolution of how we experience music and audio.
Well, I'm excited about taking audio up in the quality, raising the quality bar for what we hear. You know, part of it is the immersiveness of what we're mixing and stuff like now, but I think we also should look at higher quality audio recording, and these formats, these immersive formats, should go there as well, where the quality of the audio is higher. Because 48K, that's 40-year-old technology. Uh, where are we now with video? What is it? 8K video? And how many times has that just exponentially increased? So that's what I'm excited for. I want to see that happen. I want to see it happen with 360, and so there.
I actually want to add to that. I feel that for so long we have been graphics driven, graphics, and nobody has really paid attention to the audio. And I think that we are just now getting to the point that we're realizing it doesn't matter how good the graphics are. If the audio isn't there to support it, it will not trick your brain. When you have the audio, and if you're in VR, and if you have the audio to support that visual, it takes you to a different world. And so that's why the PlayStation now has the new Tempest engine, and everybody's figuring out that audio is just as important. You can't have one without the other. I'm very excited about that.
John.
Yeah, like if you watch a movie and the screen goes out, but the sound system keeps working, you completely know the story, the emotional component, right? A movie without visuals is radio. But if in that same theater, if the sound system goes out and the screen keeps working, it's like I don't really understand what's happening right now. Like a movie without sound is surveillance footage. So it matters a lot. Um, the thing I'm excited about is to see and I'm mostly excited but slightly terrified, is to kind of see what's going to happen with AI and its involvement, like how that is going to evolve. Um, it's lots of promise. There's also lots of hype and lots of foolishness, and so it's really hard to sift through what the opportunities are. But it does seem like there are some companies. A friend of mine runs a company called Lander. Daniel Rowland. He's been there. I think he did 70 panels at this week for over the last 4 days. So you've probably seen him, but he's really in that space of music and AI. They've actually just released a mastering plugin that's really impressive. So I'm very curious to see how those, and I see 360 audio or immersive audio and AI as a really interesting marriage. Where I'm very curious, and I have no doubt that Sony will be on the forefront of making those things happen. So I'm very curious to see where those go.
I love that you brought up AI. We haven't really addressed that at all. But one thing I did hear last week that resonated, and it was regarding radiologists. Will radiologists be replaced by AI? No. But radiologists who do not use AI will be replaced. So as we look at song making, and we're looking at tools, and we look at AI, it's just like having a cool electric guitar. It's just going to be part of the songwriting process. When tag's not available, they'll lay down, whatever that is. Yeah, I mean, so it's an exciting time, and AI is going to disrupt every business. But if you can figure out how AI plays a role in what you're doing, drop the mic. Let's go. I want to thank everybody for coming out today. It's awesome to see Sunday Fun Day NAMM. You guys are an awesome audience. I hope people checked it out. We were live streaming as well. Thank you all for joining us from Tennessee, from coming out from Phoenix, coming out from Colorado, Anaheim, LA, and we hope to see you guys next NAMM. This is our last panel, so thank you all for being here.
Thanks, John. Frank said it was Coca-Cola.
No, it was absolutely an orange Gatorade, 100%.